Hey guys, it's Carly from All the Pretty Books. I'm so excited to be here. I've got some book mail right here that I can't wait to unbox. So yeah, let's get to it. This has got to be some of the most unusual packing material I've ever seen. It's like shredded box. I'm so excited, you guys. I think everybody loves popping bubble wrap. This is really cool, actually. So this is an advanced reader copy, or ARC as sometimes they're called, of The Prisoner of Azkaban from the US. It's Scholastic's. So some of you may know that I've already had a copy of this book, but I had to sell a copy of this book. Unfortunately, or I had to sell my copy of the book. Unfortunately, I had to get out of some unsafe living situation, or an unsafe living situation. It's kind of hard to talk about, I guess. A few years ago, and I had to sell off some of my most prized favorite books to do so. And this was one of them. It's not the exact copy I sold, but it is a copy. I knew when I sold them, I planned to get them back. I wasn't sure when, I wasn't sure how, but I did plan to get them back. And this is the first of many books that I had to sell that I'm slowly getting back. So I'm real excited to have a copy of this back in my hands. It means a lot, not only because the book is really, really cool. I love the publishing history of the book, the publishing history of Harry Potter and all of that kind of stuff. And as a collector who gears toward like the rare, valuable things, I really love advanced reader copies. So this is right up my alley anyway. But I also love what getting a copy of this book kind of symbolizes to me as far as like getting my life back on track. I'm doing much better. And I am. So I'm thrilled, you guys. I'm so thrilled. But anyway, enough about me and enough about that. I don't need to go into any more about that. Let's talk about this cool little book. This is an advanced reader copy of Scholastic's Prisoner of Azkaban. Prisoner of Azkaban was published in the US in September 1999. And you may be wondering why it doesn't have the now iconic Mary Grand-Pré cover art on it. And there's actually a lot that feeds into this answer. But essentially what happened was the publication date of this book in the US had to be pushed up a whole year by Scholastic due to some things that were happening around the publication of Chamber of Secrets in the US and the UK. So Scholastic, due to some mess there, and we'll get into that in a minute, pushed the publication date up a whole year, and the cover art just wasn't finished. It even says on the back of the advanced reader copy, due to the unprecedented demand for this book, we have moved the publication date up a full year. We understand we couldn't wait to read it either. Accordingly, we have rushed to bring this advanced reader edition so you can to you as quickly as possible. Blah. Please rest assured that the final book will be as elegantly produced as each of the previous 2 volumes and decorated with the delightful artwork of Mary Grand-Pré. There's the spine for reference. It's got more of the Harlequin pattern that we see. There's the back. What's also neat about advanced reader copies, not just Harry Potter ones, but advanced reader copies in general, is they tend to tell a little bit about the book. Like in the case of like books that came before it, if there's a series, it has like books 1 and 2 there. It'll tell first printing 500,000 copies. So that's a large first printing, first of all. 500,000 copies. 500,000 copies for a first print, you guys. That is huge, considering some books only get 1,500. If you look at the original amount of books produced for Philosopher's Stone, just the hardcover, that was 500. If you look at all published between softcover and hardcover Philosopher's Stone, first edition, first print, that is less than 6,000. And just a few short years later, after the publication of the first print Philosopher's Stone in the UK, in the US, we have 500,000 copy first print run of Azkaban, the third book in the series. That's massive. That's also a reason why first prints of Azkaban just aren't going to be worth very much unless they're signed by someone who would add value. But it also gives like a campaign, marketing campaign, and things that you're going to see with the release of the book, so you can kind of see the marketing for the book, right? And the first two copies, advanced reader copies of Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, also have similar detail, which I think is just so cool. So you have to look at the context of what was going on in 1998 to kind of get the idea for what was going on. Essentially, we have Chamber of Secrets was published in 1998 in the UK. And we have Sorcerer's Stone was published in the US in 1998. And people did not want to wait until June of 1999 for US Scholastic to publish their second book. They just didn't want to wait for the second installment. Pottermania was really starting to develop. I mean, between the two countries, people didn't want to wait. And we have other translations coming in, but that's another video for another day. And Harry Potter was just getting very big. And in short, US readers didn't want to wait. So they were buying Chamber of Secrets books from UK sellers online. The internet was just barely up and going to be a thing, but it was still the thing, right? And we had things like Amazon UK that came around in 1998. It wasn't called Amazon UK, I don't think, but that's when they kind of set up shop. But you could buy a book online in the UK and have it shipped to you in the US. So that's what people were doing in the US. And in short, Scholastic was very upset about this because they have publishing rights for the book in the US. So they don't think the book should appear in the US for sale, which essentially it was because they were buying it online before they released it in June of 1999. And Amazon said, well, they're buying it from us over in the UK. So what's the difference from a US person on holiday buys a book from a UK store and takes it back home? It's essentially the same. The books are going to wind up in the US anyway. And Scholastic was like, no, they're buying it here. It shouldn't be available for sale here, essentially. So what this case, this dispute between Amazon and Scholastic kind of helped confront, and other things too that were going on at the time, helped confront the idea of global borders. Copyright infringement, what does that mean in an online atmosphere? As well as, where does a transaction take place? If the buyer and the computer are located in New York, but they're buying a book from a seller in London where the book is, does the transaction take place in the US or does the transaction take place in the UK? And some of that had to all kind of be outlined because Scholastic was upset about it. They knew that they didn't want to lose out on any more money. So Scholastic released Chamber of Secrets as planned in June of 1999. And then they went ahead and pushed forward the date of Azkaban by a whole year and released it in September of 1999. Then from then on, so Goblet of Fire onward, the books in the US and the UK were released on the same date to prevent any messiness. Scholastic didn't want to have any competition between Bloomsbury, and Bloomsbury's the first publisher, right? They're going to publish the book first. And Scholastic was like, fine, we'll just publish it when you do. And that's what happened from book 4 on. And they had to do that. And by that time, Pottermania was huge. We had countries all over the world, readers all over the world demanding this book as soon as they could. But yeah, so that's essentially a very short version of what happened and why the publication date for Prisoner of Azkaban was pushed forward and why the cover art does not match the iconic Mary Grand Pré. Also, interestingly, because of that little snafu where you could buy Chamber of Secrets from the UK, there are some first print Chamber of Secrets that wound their way over to the US when buyers bought them, which I think is cool. I'll put a link down below for the article that I referenced for that little dispute, or big dispute, I should say. There are others on it, but they're behind paywalls, and I read them before I had to pay for them, but they're not hard to find. It was very easy to find once I found this one. So like I said, I'll put the one that I referenced down below. You can click on the link, and if you want to read more about it, there you go. And just really quickly, you may want to know what advanced reader copies are. I kind of have already said, and I've covered this in a few other posts. We've talked about it in the podcast, Dialogue Alley, and I've talked about it, I'm sure, in other videos. But in short, advanced reader copies, ARCs, AREs, review copies, they're sent from publishers to members of the press, the public, celebrities, librarians, other authors, pretty much anybody that they think can help drum up publicity for the book. And this is used especially for new authors or a series that's not well known, something like that. And Harry Potter wasn't, of course, well known when it was first published in 1997, 1998 over here in the US. So there is an advanced reader copy of Sorcerer's Stone, advanced reader copy of Chamber of Secrets, and The Prisoner of Azkaban is the last advanced reader copy we have of the Harry Potter series. Because by book 4, they didn't need them anymore. They just weren't necessary. They don't need any more press to help sell these books. They're already in such high demand. The 500,000 first print run shows that. And essentially these copies are sent out for free to the aforementioned people. And then these people are asked to review the book. So to read the book. And they'll write a review on it or give a few quotes on it. And essentially the publisher is looking for something that they can use for publicity. So you'll see advanced early or advanced reader copies are usually the ones who provide, especially for earlier books, the quotes that are on the back of the book, sometimes the reviews that are on the back of the book. You know, this book is great. I read it a million times. The Guardian. That could have come from an advanced reader copy. And if you too want to be an advanced reader, there's a group called librarything.com that you can join. They don't give out books to everybody who wants to be an early or advanced reader. But you can join the group, and then if you sign up for different books that they have on offer, you can have the opportunity to get a book. It's all done in a lottery. And you can sign up for a specific book, and then so many copies of those books are sent out to so many people. I've personally got to be an advanced reader for a few books, and I've really enjoyed the books that I've been sent. So I do recommend it. I'll put the link for that down below too. Also, quickly, the idea of collecting any advanced reader copy, whether it's Harry Potter or any other book, can be controversial. I was not aware of this when I first started collecting back in 2009, and I very quickly drifted into early and rare things. So I had the advanced reader copies of all, 3 books within the first probably 4 months of collecting, and I didn't know that there was a controversial thing. But it is. I've joined enough collector groups, talked to enough collectors, that there's the idea that, the books were sent out for free. They were not sold, and they were not meant to be sold. It even says on the book, not for sale, which is controversial in and of itself. So there's people who feel very strongly that you should not buy or collect advanced reader copies, that once they've done their job, essentially as an advanced reader copy, they should be taken out of the market, out of circulation, thrown away, tossed, or whatever. I am clearly not in that camp. Mainly because I love the idea of someone reading this book and writing a quote for Harry Potter. I love the idea of somebody falling in love with Harry Potter through this book potentially, or the idea that, this book is part of the publishing history of Harry Potter, and I love the publishing history of Harry Potter. I love history of things, and I love the history of things that I tend to collect, and this is definitely something I collect. My room is full of books, so it makes sense that I would own one. But I can also see the other side of it, why people are against the sale of them. The publisher, the author, the people who are involved in the publication and production of the book don't get any money from the sale by the person who received it. And I can see where that's kind of some ickiness for some people. I think both opinions are fine. I like, that people have their opinion on things, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there and kind of throw in my opinion on why I collect them, because I do get asked. Oh my goodness, you guys. I realized when I was editing the video just now that I forgot to talk about value yesterday in the video. I talked about so many other things. I forgot about value, which is very important. I looked on eBay just now before I came in here, and the lowest that's still for sale on eBay right now, the lowest Prisoner of Azkaban advanced reader copy is $700, with the highest being $2,500, and several in between, and conditions varying. I feel like $2,500 for one for an advanced reader copy of Azkaban is quite high. And then if it's signed by someone who would add value, I think that would be probably a little bit too low, depending on condition. So I have talked to other people. They said that they have known of these advanced reader copies selling for around $700, $750, $800, somewhere in there. So I'm going to ballpark the value somewhere in there for now. I got a great deal on mine, I feel like, and I definitely bought it off eBay. Importantly, when I looked through eBay solds, I did not see any advanced reader copies selling on eBay at all. That doesn't mean they weren't there and mislisted. And of course, that doesn't take into account the sales that happened before the 3-month mark. I just see a snapshot of the last 3 months. Also, really quick, condition is going to be really important with these advanced reader copies because they're made cheaply by the publisher, because again, they were giving them out for free, and they rub very easily. So you'll see like white spots or fading spots because the color on the wraps rubs off very easily. So finding one that doesn't have a lot of rubbing or no rubbing is really cool, and people will pay a premium to have that. Anyway, now back to your regularly scheduled rest of the video. And again, if you would like to sign up for thelibrarything.com to be an advanced reader, you have to sign up for thelibrarything.com, which offers many more things other than their advanced reader program. But if you want to be an advanced reader, you have to specifically join their advanced reader program. But I'll put the link for thelibrarything.com down below because it really is a neat place. All right, I think I've kind of covered the book. I'm so excited to have one back in my hands. When I get done here, I'm going to put it in my rare book case. Yay! Anyway, I'm just so excited. What a cool book collecting week, you guys. I'm so proud of myself. You have no idea. I am so proud of myself for getting back to a place of stability where I can do what I love again. It's just really cool. If you want more Harry Potter content, I'm a co-host of the podcast Dialogue Alley, and we have so much fun. It's me, Melanie, and Eric, sometimes Peter the Potter Collector, and we have so much fun. We also have other guest hosts on, and we just talk about collecting Harry Potter books and other things. With that, I'm going to say stay magical. Thanks for watching, and as always, very happy collecting. Good night.